art can mean different things to different people. For me, it's all about the joy of creating. So if you draw, paint, write, dance, sing, craft, play air guitar, or even sculpt using nothing but mashed potatoes, consider yourself an artist and join the conversation. For the next half hour, meet the artist, learn about their inspiration, and enjoy the beauty of creativity. Welcome to Art Talk with John Cole Artist. Well, good evening, everyone. After a very long time of thinking about it and talking about it, I've actually taken the plunge and done it. This is my first podcast called Art Talk, and I figured to really kick this off the right way, I'd ask one of my closest friends to join me tonight. So with me is Carri Betts. She is a resin artist who is currently residing in the great state of Georgia. Welcome, Carri, to Art Talk.
Thank you so much for having me here, John. I am so excited, as I know how much you have talked about doing this, and I'm so happy to be here with you as your first guest.
I appreciate that. I tell you, the amount of anxiety that I felt all the way up to tonight has just been enormous. But I think it's really comforting to have a close friend on, and especially somebody with so much talent. I've been following your work for quite some time, and I know that you put a lot of love into it, and I know that you put a lot of your spiritual side into it as well. And I think we'll talk a little bit about that tonight. But just as an aside, and this is something I was thinking about, just to add something a little bit different since it's my first show, and this might be something that combines some of the various sides of me. I wanted to do this. So for Christmas, my wife got me a REM pod, and I'm going to turn this thing on. It's to find ghosts and stuff. And I'm going to put this thing on, and I'm going to put it over here. So if any spirits decide to join us tonight, that thing's going to go off, and we're going to take a break and see if there's anybody here. But anyway, getting back to the program.
I love that so much. I know you knew I would.
Yeah. I thought it would be kind of interesting. So if anybody else wants to join us tonight that isn't online on Facebook or YouTube, by all means, please join us. Okay, so since this is brand new, this is something I haven't tried, and Carri, of course, is helping me out tonight with our inaugural broadcast. I'm not quite sure how it's going to work on YouTube or how it's going to work on Facebook, but I should be broadcasting to both of those locations. And it does look like we have comments already. So I'm going to go ahead and welcome Michelle Sullivan. She says hello to both of us. And of course, she also likes the REM pod idea. So maybe it'll become part of the show. Who knows? We'll see. So Carri, the resin art that you do, I don't know if a lot of people really understand what that is or what it is that you do. Could you explain that a little bit?
I can. So I do have different products that I make with resin. I make trays and bookmarks, but my main thing is pyramids. And what I do is use my intuitive gifts and my love of nature. And I create these beautiful pyramids, which I know you're going to show some in a few minutes. But I do have one right here. And it's to provide healing for people. So I put my healing energy into it for what that person may need.
Mm-hmm.
And it provides continuous healing in their homes. I started to create these because, I was thinking about this today, going back to when I first started. And the very first pyramid that I created was because of a dog that I was working with. Because, as you know, I am an animal communicator as well. And the dog crossed over to Rainbow Bridge, and he kept showing me images and wanting me to create something for his owners.
Hmm.
And, I kept telling him, Astro, I don't know how to do that. And he kept nudging me to do it. And then about a week later, someone sent me a picture of a pyramid,
Hmm.
an organite. There's organites, which some people create these to eliminate the EMFs from your computers. Um, and they asked me if I made those, and I was like, well, I do now. And that's pretty much how it all started.
Hmm.
Um,
Wow.
and I'm always quite amazed when I sit down after I have created the pyramid and I write down all of the healing properties that are in there from the stones and the flowers.
Right, because your pyramids aren't just a single thing, right? They're multiple layers. They're made up of different, like you were saying, flowers, gems, and they can contain other things too, right? Things that are meaningful maybe to a client or something.
Yes, I've even done some with pets' ashes.
Oh.
Uh, I've made one with human ashes as well that I had created for my daughter
Hmm.
as a memorial of her grandfather.
That's a really great idea. Looks like Christine is on Facebook and she sends a whole bunch of hearts. Um, Hi, Christine. So, um, right. So, and the pyramid shape itself holds power. I mean, you chose the pyramid for a specific reason as opposed to like a cube or a sphere or something, right?
True.
Yeah.
Pyramids actually help to cleanse and purify the air around you as
Okay.
it brings the energy in through the top and out through the bottom, cleansing it.
Okay. So how would you? Okay. So if I procured a pyramid from you, right? Let's say, and can you ask for certain things too, or did you say that when you design these things, it's based on your intuition on what to put in there, or how does that work? Like if I wanted one.
If you had certain things that you wanted in it, you could most definitely send them to me.
Okay.
Most people either give me a word or they tell me what they're going through, and then I will use my intuition um, to help guide me of what goes in it. And I do believe too, like it, and it's not just my intuition, right? It's my spirit team. It's whoever I'm creating for. It's their spirit team.
Right. Yeah, and I love that idea too because I think, I mean, there might be some folks watching that or listening that might not necessarily be aligned with the whole idea of this spirit world, right? And I think that's okay. I think from an artist perspective, though, especially those folks that, whether or not you're just starting off, doing some particular craft like sewing to somebody that's maybe painting the Mona Lisa, I think that whether or not you admit it to yourself, there is a spiritual component to that. I
Agree.
think that when you're really in the process of creating, you're right. Even if you're creating a dress or if you're creating a 3D print, even right, if you're doing maybe the 3D modeling, and I know this because I experiment with all this different stuff, right? And when you're really in that moment, it's almost as if you're being guided by other hands. So I completely understand what you're saying, and I would argue that your approach by using your intuition is in some cases a better approach when you're designing a pyramid because it kind of takes the individual out of it who might be jaded a little bit sometimes, right? Especially if it's something that they're trying to overcome. Because sometimes we get in our own way, right? We have blind spots that we don't even see.
We do. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And that's where my intuition comes in is there may be an aspect that they are not seeing, not feeling. And I can incorporate that in there. And when they get the pyramids and they see the healing properties in there, they're always, 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 everyone is always saying, this is perfect. This is exactly what I need.
Right. And I have heard that from people that you've made pyramids for, and I've seen posts on Facebook. So that's amazing that you do that. As a matter of fact, Michelle writes, the pyramids are a work of art. Carrie made one for me. I requested one to help me with my healing journey. You know, and there's a testimonial right there that says that what you're doing is bringing value to people, right? And isn't that what art's all about? So I love that. That's a great comment, and I love what you're doing. And if you don't mind, I'd like to show the folks, you know, that have the video capability, some of your stuff, and maybe you could talk a little
Sure.
bit about your art. So hang on, folks. I'm going to try to share this. I've never done this before, my first time. So let's see how this works. So let me push over the screen so that we can see it. And of course, it's not going to do what I want it to do because I'm asking it to do it. There we go. And let me go ahead and hide this here. So what we're seeing here is one of your pyramids, right?
This is one that was a custom order for someone for they wanted me to create this for a family member as a Christmas gift.
And is that? Those aren't real mushrooms at the top. Are they dried mushrooms?
No, those are little gemstone mushrooms. One
Oh my goodness.
is a sodalite, which is a very calming energy, helps with communication. And the other one up there is a Dalmatian jasper. And there's some moss underneath. Moss helps to absorb negative energies and transmute it back into the earth.
Right. Okay. And then here's one that's, well, this is one of those picturesque photographs. I love that. You got to have a picturesque photograph. Let me see if I can pick out what's on that. It looks like there's is that rose quartz at the top?
Actually, that is it's close. It's actually a kunzite,
Okay.
which is another heart chakra stone, just like the rose quartz, and it's all about bringing in unconditional love.
We need a lot of that these days, don't we?
Yes, we do.
We
That's for
certainly
sure.
do.
And I love how this person took their pyramid down to the ocean to meditate with it.
Oh, that's so somebody else took this photo.
Yes.
Oh, see, that's even better. That's very meaningful when people actually take your art places and bother to take that and take the time. That is awesome. That is incredible. Here's something a little bit different because you had mentioned you do other artwork or other resin designs other than pyramids.
Yes, these are my bookmarks. And I just create. My bookmarks are pretty much just to create. No one's, I haven't had a custom order per se. But let's face it, everything that I make, there's a lot of love and healing and intention behind it.
Right. So here I got, this just showed up from, I don't know who this is, unknown user. Carrie makes the best pyramids.
Thank you very much. I'm not sure who that is either, but thank you.
Yep, came in through YouTube. So at least I just confirmed that the YouTube channel's running, although it appears as if, because Carrie and I had talked earlier when this first started that I wasn't quite sure where the broadcast was going to end up. So I got a little bit of tinkering I've got to do to figure that out, folks. But the good news is it looks like it's making it to YouTube, if not exactly where I intended. I'll figure it all out. But, well, thank you, unknown user, for posting that. I appreciate that. And you're right, Carrie does make the best pyramids. Here, I'll bring up one more picture here, and let's take a look at this one. Now, this one I find, I really love this one. I just love the oranges. It's, I don't know whether or not it's a summery or an autumn type look, but I love the color choices you made there. So do you remember who this was made for or what the intent was?
This was one that I just was playing around creating for myself. And it's, I love how you're like the color scheme. I can't ever see when I'm creating. And sometimes I forget what I've already put in there because this is what it looks like. This is what
Oh,
it goes in to make.
oh, that's the
So
mold.
this is the mold. So as you can see, you can't see through that.
Yeah.
But I made this one and I put it up for sale and I didn't, it just, no one was grabbing it. And
Right.
I brought it to the event that we had in October,
Hmm.
and someone there looked at it, read through all the properties, and was like, this is a perfect gift for my daughter. This is everything she needs. So, whether I'm creating a custom order for someone or whether I'm just creating to put it out there, I know it's going to go to the right person that needs it.
That's part of your intuition talents as well. And Christine writes, I love Carri Betts pyramids. You can get lost in the visual and energetic aspects and meditate, bringing in harmonious energy to the space and yourself.
Thank you, Christine.
Now, Michelle asks a really good question. She asks, how long does it take to create these? And that I think is a really good question because we're working in a medium that I think some people are afraid to work in.
Yeah, and I've had this question asked a lot since I've been doing it, and it's it's a little difficult to gauge my time because it takes me about 10 minutes to mix all the resin, like the and it's layer by layer. Like
Mhm.
a big one like this, like Michelle has a big one, which takes 43 ounces of resin to make. So, you know, a big one will take me a week's time on and off,
Wow.
because I make one layer, I have to let it set for a while before I can move to the next one. And then I spend time with everything that I have, like the flowers and the crystals. And sometimes it looks like I pick something up thinking that that's what needs to go in there. And then all of a sudden, spirit is like, nope, it needs to be this. So, I would say a big one takes me probably about 20 hours.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. And I think, yeah, I mean, I'm looking at my other monitor at that picture we just looked at here, just to bring this back up. And you can see that. I mean, and what I really find interesting about, I really think about this process is because all the pictures I've shown, and I think I've got another one up here as well that I will flip over to here. Like here's another one. This was another one that you sent that's heavy on the pinks, right? I see a lot of florals towards the bottom. Of course, the crystals at the top. What I really find interesting about this and your process itself is that number one, you like you were showing with that mold is you don't know what they're going to look like when they're done because you can't see, and because you can't see, you would either have to plan your layers out in advance and then hope for the best, or like what you're doing is you're just kind of letting spirit guide you. And what's happening is that you're ending up with these really very beautiful end results. I mean, I'll be honest with you folks. I have one of Carri's pyramids. That was me. That was not a ghost, by the way. That thing just went off. I have one of Carri's pyramids that she gifted me last October. And it's, I mean, to look at it and look at the complexities of what is produced with these things is just amazing. I mean, it's And some of these are lighted too, right? That's another thing that we didn't touch on, but I know that you've done those, right?
Yes. Actually, this one here
Yeah.
has lights in
Yeah,
it.
and that's just one more level of complexity that really makes them very, very unique pieces that I mean, they're stunning. I mean, you put them on a shelf, you use them for you know, just as centerpieces, you know, on a mantle or whatever. I mean, I just think and they're conversation pieces as well, which is awesome. So so good for you. And I hope and you know, towards the end we'll you know, you can tell folks how to get a hold of you if they're interested in one. But I would like to know, if anything, what's next? I mean, you're doing the pyramids, you're doing the bookmarks. You mentioned you're doing trays. Now you do a few other odd things. And when I mean, let me rephrase that. It's not
I
odd
do
as
a
in
lot
weird.
of odd things, John.
I didn't mean it that way. Meaning variations of things, right? You do flower essences as well, too, right? That's part of your repertoire of things.
Yes, I make my own flower essences.
Yeah.
I am known as a flower fairy
Hmm.
to those who are closest to me. I also wrap sage bundles in flowers, Palo Santo sticks in flowers. I am getting ready to do a new thing that's been floating around for a couple years, and I just haven't done it yet. And
Ooh,
that is
tell me. I want to be the first to know.
dog tags
Oh, what a great idea. What a great idea.
with the
Are they,
flower and stones with the same idea of like, because I've seen a lot of dogs with different traumas, especially shelter dogs. They go through a lot. And, some dogs just need more grounding. Some dogs have a lot of anxiety. Some have a lot of grief.
right.
So I thought that that would be a great thing
Yeah.
for the animals because we know I'm not just here for the humans, that I'm here for the animals as well.
No, and you know that ties in really well with some of the, you know, like a lot of us, I have a TikTok addiction. And you know, on TikTok, what I'm seeing every once in a while, something will pop up where dogs will paint. Now you have a dog, right?
I sure do have a
You
dog.
you sure do have a dog. I know that dog very well because I got to spend what, like 16 hours with him in a car once. Um,
Yes, with him barking the whole way.
yeah, poor little guy. Um, oh, Jamie writes, I don't know, Jamie, Carrie is the
Oh,
absolute best. Dog tags will be amazing.
hi, Jamie.
So that's cool. Um, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, on TikTok, I see more and more TikToks where their animals are painting, right? And for years, I've seen things like elephants that paint, and now I'm starting to see dogs that paint. Now, dog tags, of course, and dogs painting are two separate things, but I think that idea kind of bridges that gap too, right?
Yes.
Because now because I'm starting to sense a change in that. I don't know if that's because for years my wife and I had our dog who unfortunately passed away last year. But there's something I think valuable with having that relationship, and I think that being able to share your art like that and be able to provide, uh, for some pet, and I hesitate about calling them owners because it's really not ownership in my mind. It's more of a partnership, right? When
Yeah.
you have a partnership with an animal and you're agreeing to take them on to host them in your home, I think there's really something special about being able to establish a better connection by sharing that with them, right? So I think that's a super cool idea, and it sounds to me like you're going to do very well with that. So I look forward to that.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So
I'm excited to get them going.
yeah, um, so we are already at 25 after.
See how quick that went by?
It just goes way too quick. But I would like to try to keep it within 30 minutes. So could you share with us how folks would get a hold of you if they wanted to contact you?
You could, I do have a website. Carri
Is it that one there?
Betts.com. It sure is that one right there.
Boom, I got you
Um,
all set up, girl.
and you can email me right from my website, or you could email me directly at carribetts.com.
It's Carri at CarriBetts.com.
Yes, sir.
All right, let me put that one up as well. Carri at CarriBetts.com.
So either one of those ways, you can feel free to contact me. Whether you just have questions about what I do, I would be happy to answer them.
All right, and Trevor, I don't know, Tyler Blevins. I love Carri so much and her work.
Oh, thank you, Tyler.
That's amazing. So I want to just express my gratitude and a sincere thank you for being my first interviewee. I certainly hope that you'll join me again.
You know I will. And
that would be amazing. There are so many other questions I would love to ask and just love to keep this conversation going. But I really do appreciate you taking the time to spend with me. And I really look forward to all the great things you're going to be doing, the dog tags, continuing with your pyramids. And I think you have amazing talent, Carri. And I certainly hope that those folks listening or those folks watching will take a few minutes to check out the website. I looked at the website earlier. It's a beautiful website. And I know that you also do the animal communications and some of the other stuff. So you really are a complete package, Carri. So
thank you. So are you, John.
Well,
and I so appreciate you having me on today and feeling comfortable enough to have me as your first guest.
Well, it's been a real pleasure. So I will let you go for the evening, and all you folks out there, in 2 weeks, I'm going to be hosting Michelle Sullivan. Michelle Sullivan is I'm going to use the word doodleist. I don't know if that word really exists, but that's what she is. And she's going to be joining me on the 21st, I believe. So please, by all means, join us for that. So Carri, I will bid you a farewell and a good night. And if you want to hang on for a few seconds, I'll talk with you shortly.
Okay.
So for everybody else, I appreciate your time, and I'll talk to you in 2 weeks. See you later. Thank you so very much for joining me on the Art Talk podcast, where it's my goal to bring artists together to talk about their craft. If you'd like to join me for a conversation, please reach out via email at johncoleartist@gmail.com or by visiting my website at johnrobertcole.com. So until next time, keep crafting, painting, and inspiring others with your creativity. You make more of an impact than you know. See ya.